Welcome back to the Captain's Table, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Paul Berserker01 Batman Shelley, your humble host and space bartender here at the AstroPub. And this is a 24-hour Captain's Table. We're on session, I don't know, of many. We're 10 hours in, is what I know. And I've still got 14 hours to go. We got plenty more guests coming by. And this is for charity, so we're raising money for Gamers Outreach, which is a group that helps out children in hospitals, getting them access to games, and all over the world. Because as anyone knows who's been laid up in a hospital, there's not a lot to do except rest and try to get better. So those sorts of things, especially for kids, are great distractions from everything. So. With this total, we've raised $1,744. Our goal is to get $2,000. So if you want to raise money, if you want to help us raise money, if you're in chat, !charity, we'll bring up the link. And if you are watching this after the fact, and even though the 24 hours is over, you can still help us chip in by hitting the little link down below in the description and chipping a few dollars. So. With that being said, let's us introduce our wonderful folks. I'm going to start with Griff. Who are you? What do you do in Star Citizen? Where can they find you?
I'm Griffin Gaming, RPG. I am with the Soul Citizens, content creators here over Star Citizen. And what was the other question? There were three things. I'm zoning out here. What do I do? That's all I do. I watch Paul. That's what I do.
What do you do? What do you do, Star Citizen? Where can they find you?
Oh, yeah. You can find us at Soul Citizens on any social media platform. That's SOL, Soul Citizens, as in the sun, and with an S at the end.
Awesome. And then Fist, who are you? What do you do in Star Citizen? Where can they find you?
So I am one half of Fist and Jawa, A&D, not ING, and that's our new slogan.
Yeah.
We create content on YouTube and Twitch. We do a couple streams a week, Thursdays and Java does Sundays, and currently we're in this weird little lull where there's not a ton of content driving a lot of videos, but it looks like there's about to be for the next year. So you can find us. I'll plug the website Java. It is fistandandjawa.org. And from there, you can find all of our other links to Patreon and Twitch and YouTube and all that fun stuff.
Yeah. And Jawa, who are you? What do you do in Star Citizen? Where can they find you? And who are your cats? I can't hear you. Are you muted?
Oh, he's definitely muted.
Oops, sorry. Yeah. I got Larry, Curly, Mo, Sam, Samantha, Sammy, Samuel. Let's see. I'm Jawa Sparky, the other half of Fist and Jawa. That's and not ing. Jawa. Yeah, that is our new slogan. We're going to put it on t-shirts. And let's see, I'm also a content creator and streamer on Twitch. Fist does the YouTube side of things. I do the Twitch side of things. But I also post content on YouTube. I have been doing the systems, many different systems. I think I have like 50 more to go of the ones that are out there. Been having a lot of fun learning a lot about that and get a lot of good feedback too. So it's good to be back, Paul.
Awesome. Yeah, it's good to have you both back on. You actually find myself on Soul Citizens every so often. And Fist and Jawa have showed up on my Lore Citizen podcast as well. We talked a little bit about the resolution. So, which I got to bring you back on again at some point to talk about some other stuff you like. So
that'd be great.
I'm trying to diversify because sometimes JL isn't available and sometimes Al isn't available. So when that happens, I just start grabbing people and pulling them in and be like, let's talk about lore. So, let's talk about Star Citizen. Let's talk about CitizenCon. Let's start with you, Joe, since you're the last person to introduce yourself. What did you like about CitizenCon? What were your highlights for CitizenCon?
What I liked was, I like seeing more Pyro. I hope it comes out soon. Although I wouldn't mind some other systems coming out as I learn about a system. Oh my God, that'd be so cool to have that. But I really liked that all of the new features, the new tech that's coming in, like with the oceans and the water and everything on the different moons and planets. That's really cool. I like the new crystal structure that they're making, like crystal trees and stuff. But I also really liked the new underground facilities. Instead of them all looking the same, and you go down there and okay, same choke point, same this, same that. Everything's going to be slightly different. So I'm kind of looking forward to that.
Awesome. Let's go with Fist. Your thoughts. What did you like about CitizenCon?
I don't know. I was completely whelmed with it. I wasn't over or underwhelmed. It was definitely better than last year's CitizenCon. I was praying that there was not this in-depth explanation of how, server meshing and Gen 12 renderer was going to work. But they had some exciting stuff. I was actually really glad to see that Chris Roberts is still alive. And that he participated in quite a bit. John and I did not expect that huge ending section, even though
I don't think anyone did, honestly.
Yeah, there was definitely some beating of a dead horse in some of the topics, but it was glad to see that after we hit 500 million, that Chris was very interested in making sure that I think that we wanted the fans wanted to know that he's there, because part of the reason I'm here is because of him and his past games and past visions. I'm super interested in the new master modes and the way that is going to work with everything. I mean, there's been a lot of controversy already on Reddit and Spectrum, just from everything from racing to how combat's really going to work, but it's the quantum boost thing. It's in a ton of other games, and I think it's a really good solution. Jaw was definitely more impressed with the planets of Pyro. He was just like, shush, don't talk to me. He's just watching the whole thing. We were watching it together, and it was really good. I thought it was really interesting. I'm really hoping next year is in person, and that all of us can go and we can actually meet each other and actually meet the developers. Because John and I are a smaller channel. We don't get to talk to developers and other content creators. We don't really get to talk to in person, and that would be a big thing for us because we're fans of you guys too. And I watch Paul all the time and Griff and
Sorry about that. If you want to talk to developers, there's a couple in chat right now who've been trolling me for the last 2 days with the Redeemer.
Oh yeah, I heard about the Redeemer. It's fantastic. Paul's favorite ship. Paul's favorite ship.
According to CIG, it's official. Griff, who are you? What are you doing? Why am I going on that? I am 10 hours in and I'm losing my brain
yet already.
your favorites, your favorite moments from CitizenCon.
Yeah, I got to go with something that Fist said. Fist, you mentioned it. You hope that next year we're back in person. And I think, each year CitizenCon has felt a little bit less and less. And I think one of the reasons why for me is because I've attended CitizenCons before. And most people who go to CitizenCons will tell you that 50% of it may be CIG, but the other 50% is being with the community. Mm-hmm. And so I really miss that dynamic, the chemistry of it. I remember, Paul, back in 2016 when we went, the big disappointment year, right? Mm-hmm. But I came back honestly feeling like I had a great time. You know what I mean? Because it was just getting to be around folks that like-minded folks and have those conversations, meeting the devs. And so it just made it worth it. So, I think CitizenCon, I understand the virtual aspects of it's definitely needed with all that's been going on. But like you said, Joe, I'm looking forward to LA next year. I'm prophesying LA, but I'm looking forward to in person next year, no matter what. Yeah. What I liked, love the opening sequence. The opening with Chris with the black background and revealing the new set was very cool. Also, the fact that this year, instead of it all being pre-recorded, there was the recorded sections and there were the live interactions that they had on set, which was really nice. It kept it feeling alive. It didn't make it feel like everything was just pre-scripted and all done. There was some spontaneity there. Definitely dug the I'm curious to see if CIG is going to sell that jacket that Jarrett was wearing. The venture. Let me see if they'll sell those things. And the t-shirt he was wearing too. Information wise, opened up well with Pyro. We'd seen concept drawings previously in the past. This time we saw actual footage, them moving in the engine, looking at it, which was really nice for all the planets. I'm still a little heartbroken about Pyro 3, the lava planet disappearing, and but you know, we needed to have a habitable planet.
Yeah.
The wrap up at the end showing showing Ruin Station and Pyro was nice because we'd seen concepts and pick of the week sneak peeks, but it was nice to see that in motion as well. So we're getting there. What I didn't like about it, man, that's a tough one. Just the sense of losing that thing I was mentioning earlier about the chemistry with community. That's what I missed. The information was good. You know, I enjoyed that. It was good. It was tough. It was tough. They shouldn't put Chris at the end like that to talk long though. After 6 hours, you know, yeah. Chris can't, you know, and I have a mixed feeling about the whole Chris thing anyway, you know, because people, Chris Roberts, but then when they don't see him, then they go, where is he? So it's like, you can't win no matter what, you know? So it's like, he comes in a package, guys. He's going to talk long. So you just got to deal with it. So that was it for me.
All right. I'm gonna finish eating real quick. But,
I'm sorry. Yeah, you need a few more chews. I can go on and on if you want. No, I'm just kidding.
You know, Griff, I think you hit it on the head with the community part. And I don't remember the exact statistic, but it's like 70%, 75% of the funding model is like the same people. Like morons like me who just keep, the Spirit came out, let me buy the whole pack, you know?
Yeah.
Wallet throw.
Yeah.
But it's for the most part, I think it's the same people, you know, supporting the game over and over. Now there's definitely new accounts. But as big as our community is, it's still comparatively it's small.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's the people I want to meet and talk to and you know, if anything, it'll help Jama and I help define our content you know, to what people want to see and things like that.
Yeah. Let me say this to you, Joe, in relation to that. When you talk about the smallness, I was overwhelmed. First of all, I'm always overwhelmed with this thing that we have a convention for a game that has not even come out. You know, and I mean back in 2016. I mean, I think that year, Paul, was 600 people showed up in LA. Yeah. And we go to Austin, it's something like 1,700, 1,800 people.
Yeah.
You know, it's growing for a game that quote unquote isn't, you know, out there officially.
Yeah.
So just the fact that we have that type of people will travel from freaking Germany all the way to here, or from here all the way to Manchester, you know, it's pretty amazing to me. And the conventions have gotten better and better as far as I'm concerned when you're there, to me.
Yeah, it's a lot more like viable when you're there. And I think when you go there, I think because they set aside the LA Convention Center for 2020. They were anticipating like 4,000 people showing up. And it could happen. Like this next year, especially after everything, it could very well happen that a bunch of people show up. I mean, I can almost guarantee you that people like Level Cap and those folks will be there if it's in LA, because it's not that far away from where they live. You know, most of them live in the West Coast and that kind of stuff. So like a lot of those bigger people who are interested in Star Citizen will show up. But yeah, it's nuts to think about that, because it's so big now.
Well, we do have the Star Citizen now.
Yes.
So, you know, in our like we have one here in Denver. So we haven't attended any of their stuff yet, but we do have one here in Denver.
Yeah. So
well, we got to get CIG to come out here.
Yeah.
Drink
Talk to Jake.
Microbrews.
Talk to Jake. Jake they'll send people out there to Denver for sure. It's a lot easier than Korea, and they went to Korea.
Yeah.
All right. Let's. I've been going down the list because I've been doing this for 10 hours. Instead of saying the same thing over and over again, I'm systematically breaking down every single panel. So the last one I did was the Lorville Redux, and so now I'm on to the power play, and I got one more after that, and then I can start talking about other things as well. The power play. So what I really liked about the power play was everything. It was exactly what it needed to be. They showed off the gameplay footage. They explained what they were doing. Maybe a little bit more in depth in terms of what they're planning on, but I don't think they cared to do that because they probably didn't have any idea. They were trying to make the systems work for what they were doing right now. Not like build a final system, but build a system. And Yeah, it's great. I'm looking forward to multi-crew gameplay. I think all of us here are fans of, like, we want to be on a multi-crew, even if you're a fighter pilot. I'm sure the dream is to be in a fighter pilot, scramble to or be in a carrier, scramble to a fighter, and fly off a carrier while everyone else is doing their stuff on the bigger ship. That's still like the thing. So, so yeah, I think seeing that was very exciting, and knowing that, like, the how much the system is being in place to be kind of one universal system that's going to be used by everything, rather than just like, oh, this is what the ships use, this is what the habitations use, the habs use, that kind of stuff. It's the same thing. Will make it a lot easier, I think. It's just for squadron's sake, let alone Star Citizen's sake. So, all right. So now we're going to go in the reverse order. Griff, what did you dislike about the CitizenCon?
Trying to turn me to the dark side. Trying to turn me to the dark side here.
No new Origin ships.
Yeah, there you go. How about it, huh? Yeah, I kept hoping that Origin 500 was going to be what the freaking E1 was to be. That I'm a little disappointed, but that's okay. Crusader beat me to it. What did I not like about it? If I had to really think of something, I felt like there was still, it was nice at the end where they did the thing with Chris and them talking about Squadron, because of course people have been asking about Squadron. They didn't go into a lot of stuff about, but we just saw the mechanics of Squadron, but nothing in relation to time frame or anything. But I think something I didn't like. Can you come back to me? Because that's a difficult one. Because my expectations weren't like any place where I got disappointed. You know what I mean? Maybe if I was looking for something, I wasn't. Oh, okay. I'll give you something I was a little disappointed about. I was hoping for a little bit more fill in with things that they've talked about that are on the progress tracker, and leading into 318. I just wanted a little bit more in relation to that. We knew 318 was coming. They told us we have to wait for it. Yeah, they talked about at the very end, we're going to try and push it out with Evocati within the next week. But it's still kind of empty as to what's going to happen with 318. And now there's also 319 that's supposedly happening as well. So maybe that's going to be something to say for Inside Star Citizen. But I kind of wanted them to connect the dots a little bit as we're approaching 4.0, because there's this leap that we're doing over some stuff. And I really would have liked to.
And we get a frozen.
Oh, frozen Griff.
Maybe he comes back.
Yeah.
There we go.
That was spooky.
Yeah. Yeah, you're saying there was a leap from 318.
Yeah, from 318 to 4.0, and we know there's a 319. So I just want to know what's necessary for us to move to 4.0. You know, what's the bell clanger that says, okay, we're ready to get there. That's it.
Fist, same question. What were you disappointed by or did not like about CitizenCon?
Yeah. So I will definitely concur with you, Griff, on the 318 part. I was, I get a little, sometimes, as much as I love to buy ships, I get a little frustrated when they tie a little bit too much marketing into events. I didn't think this event was heavily a marketing event. But we did have 4 new, ships come out, if you include the STV. I wanted to know, because I'm a ship guy, I wanted to know more about where we are in pipeline. I expected to see that in ship talk or talking ship, whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to see a little more progress on the merchantmen, because I thought early on in the year when they started working on it, it would be done by IAE, which it's looking like it's probably going to come out around Alien Week next year. I'd like to know what the next big ship in the pipeline is for PU. I'd like to know where we are with incorporating fauna into the game via like the space crab or just animals or the sandworm,
the whip crab.
Really anything.
The work in progress crab.
Yeah, the work in progress crab. And also the alien races. I haven't heard anything about those in a long time of when Banu or Xion are going to come in. Things like that. Just it's a smorgasbord of information, and I get this is the stuff that they're going to probably be working hard on in 2023 to get out to us, and I'm excited about so many different things. But I'd like to know in 2024, 2025, no dates or anything, but like, hey, this is after we figure out this is our next big focus. And we all know about server meshing, but what about these other things that really makes this game a game? And that will give us more things to do. And there's Mrs. Jawa.
Hello.
So that would be my thing.
Okay. Jawa, disappointments or things you didn't like about CitizenCon.
You're muted again, Jawa.
Okay, sorry. I was a little disappointed that Chris showed up even after Jared had him banned from the building. But I guess since he owns the building, he can do whatever he wants. I guess what disappointed me, one thing was, and I didn't realize this till the very end because I kept waiting, there was no physical merchandise. There was nothing that said CitizenCon. We couldn't get our pin set like we got last year. There really wasn't any physical merchandise that we could get. Hopefully they're saving that for when we're all in person, and then they'll have a booth and we can spend all of our money there. But that was a little disappointment for me. The other thing, Fist and I kind of went back and forth on this. He says it's, perspective and all of that. But I didn't like the idea that a lot of the buildings in Loreville were almost as tall as the Hurston Tower. When they panned back and showed there was all these huge buildings kind of blocking the view of the Hurston Tower. Granted, they don't have much of a view anyway, but I through the lore, through you, Paul, and everything, it was, would the Hurstons have allowed that? Allowed them to build a building almost as big as theirs. So that whole panel, I was going, no, I don't like it. And Fist, he did bring up something. Maybe it was a perspective thing. Maybe the point of view was lower and it was looking up at the Hurston Tower. But I just, even when they kind of flew around it, I saw those buildings that were almost as tall. So, yeah, that's it about me.
Jawa wants to make Loreville great again, but nothing can be taller than the Hurston Central Business District.
Yeah, Central can't. Nothing can be taller than Central, and everything in Central needs to be gold. I did not like, the one thing I didn't like was that a lot of those buildings that were like smaller, like large towers for Hurston buildings, they're all gold and black. I'm like, that wouldn't have happened. There's no way you're going to make the whole damn city gold and black. You're going to make the tower gold, but like those other ones should be like a lesser color, like bronze, because it's the Hurstons,
Aluminum.
Yeah. Some sort of like shiny metal, but it's obviously a less quality metal than gold kind of thing.
Yeah. You know what? Can I add one thing, Paul? A dislike that Joe and I talked about after the show. When this came around, when they were talking about all the new the master modes, no one brought up what the plan is in the future for restoring weapon balance, or like, for instance, making stealth mode actually viable, and that may require physical armor. But you remember, was it 3.14 when they kind of nerfed all the ballistics, and then they took away all the ammo and stuff, and it didn't make sense. And I know they're working. I know Yogi's working on all that stuff, but there's been no real update in over a year that I've seen that gives us tangible. Hey, this constellation is going to be able to hold more ammo versus the Hornet, for the same gun, type of thing. And maybe that comes in with something else, but I just haven't heard anything about that. And I think that's, especially for people who do a lot of ship combat, I think that's a very big part of it, to balance out laser energy weapons with ballistics and we didn't hear anything about physical armor, stuff like that. Those are big, huge parts of the game. So,
yeah. I will say, because I'm doing just the power play, I would say that the biggest downside of the power play was we didn't get a lot of information about the future, just what they're doing right now and how they've updated it and how it works, which is nice, but I'd like to see where the end goal is, talk more about in depth in terms of the how are these systems going to be set up? How are people going to do engineering gameplay and like make sure like how is the power going to be routed and those sorts of things. It was mostly just like showing us how the power is routed and then like the little nodes and the fuses that you kind of move things around on, which was nice. But it's like, yeah, but how is this going to translate into gameplay other than me running around with a bit apart and just constantly reattaching parts as they break and fry?
Right.
So. And as someone saying in chat, like maybe the weapon balancing is part of resource management. Maybe it is, but then they could have put it in power play and they didn't.
Yeah,
like
it certainly could be.
Yeah.
So, and I know it's just in test and theory right now, and they're working on stuff. But and I appreciate that, but yeah, it's just I don't know, kind of it's been irking me for over a year, and it's like, okay, let's talk about stuff that used to work really well and now it doesn't at all.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's talk about the last part, which would be your overall assessment of this year. Do you think we're talking best year ever, worst year ever, somewhere in between for the game and for CitizenCon? So I'll start with you on this, Griff. Best year, worst year for CitizenCon, best year, worst year for Star Citizen, somewhere in between.
No, not the best year.
Okay.
Just somewhere in between. Again, because I've been to a con before, I evaluating it just on these virtual events, just it's not the same thing. So if I were to match it out of the last three though that we've had, I'd say this one was probably, to me, felt it was put together the best out of the ones that we've seen, the virtual ones that we've seen. As far as the year goes, 2022, I think CIG has done okay. I think they've done they've done pretty well. I know communication is always an issue. It seems, and how they communicate. I still, and I always implore this whenever we do Bar Citizens, I still wish that CIG would do at least annually, if not semi-annually, the pillar talks, like they did for here. When Sean Tracy's there, when Eric is there, when Chris is there, when all the heads, department heads are there, and they have that roundtable discussion about where they are, what they're doing, and what they're looking to do. To me, it just sends a really strong signal to the community, and just kind of reaffirms our belief in the project a little bit more. I don't have to see Chris every year. I know he put out a letter, things like that, but hearing those guys sit around and talk there, don't get me wrong, everybody else, we know they've got hard workers there at CIG, but those people represent those hard workers, and I love when we're able to see them and they dialogue and that open conversation that they have. So that's pretty much my assessment for this year.
Okay. Fist, your thoughts overall for this year and for CitizenCon? How would you rank it?
Well, first off, I agree with you, Griff. I really wanted to see Tony Z on in this and to kind of get to, that goes back to the 318 information on where they are on economy stuff. That would have been, I think, super pertinent for this time frame of CitizenCon. But overall, this is only my second CitizenCon. I didn't start playing until right after CitizenCon 3 years ago. So the first one was last CitizenCon, and it wasn't great. This one's definitely better, but I've seen a lot of the footage, from all the cons, and I had a good experience, definitely better than last year. It is definitely a good time watching it with a friend. Jawa came over to my house, and we had another member of our org over there as well, and we had conversations while they were talking, and it was informative. It was what I expected as the best you could do digitally. There's definitely room for improvement, but I think they got their points across. So I'm pleased with it. I'm definitely more pleased than last year. I'll say that.
How about overall for this year, in total, like your experience gaming this year? Good, bad, better year for Star Citizen for you than previous years, or? It
started off pretty hot. I had a lot of content I put out in the beginning of the year. And then when 317 came out, that started to cool off because there just wasn't any stuff. And then they changed the dates of 318 and pushed it out. And I understand why, but there wasn't really anything new to do. So I'll tell you this, for me personally, most weeks I play Star Citizen when I need to film and when we stream. And I've been playing a ton of other games in between because there's not a whole lot for me that I haven't done in the game. And there wasn't a whole lot new that came out. So until there is, then there's nothing for me to do. So overall for the year, I guess I've been, like I said, when I started, whelmed. It's okay. And I'm really looking forward to the future, but overall I kind of give it a C.
A C? Okay.
Yeah.
Jawa, your same question for you. Your overall assessment of this CitizenCon and this year as a whole.
Well, I'll start with this year as a whole. It's kind of in the middle, kind of mediocre. Again, I've been playing for 3 years, but I got in a couple months after Fist. But there really hasn't been that many features. Okay, there has been some real good ones. We got medical gameplay. We got a couple other things, but some of the things that we really wanted to get just kind of kept getting pushed out and out. So, and I'm like Fist. Unfortunately, I've been playing when I have to film for a video or on one of the 2 streams that we do weekly. And we go in and we have an absolute blast during our streams. We have a great community of people. And like today, we were running around trying to find the 3 different masks and just having a good time. By the way, a word of caution: don't leave a Cuddy Red out the back door when it's still way above the landing pad. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah.
Safety tip of the day.
Yeah,
I may have experienced that. I may have experienced that before. So
yeah. So CitizenCon, it being my second one, the content was great this year. It really was. And well, my wife was happy there wasn't much physical merchandise. So yeah. But again, I'm with Fist. We want to meet the community. We want to meet you, Paul. We want to meet you, Griff.
Yeah.
And it'll be really cool when we can actually do that.
It feels weird saying, like, I've seen Griff so many times. It's almost passé when we see each other. Hey, Griff, how's it going? How's it going, Paul? Because we've seen each other since 2016, and we saw each other for VerseCon, and we saw each other in 2018. Like, it almost feels weird not seeing Griff and like Captain Richard and those folks show up to these various events we have. So, but yeah. So it'd be nice to see more people. I feel 2018, I was still kind of like new, and I felt newish in terms of like, I knew I was a figure in the community and people saw me, but I feel like if I went to another CitizenCon, I'd just get weird with it. It was like, Paul, hey, let's go, let's hug, let's do this, let's talk. I have no idea who you are,
Fist and Jawa, just so you'll know, he does bring the helmet with him.
I do.
You'll know, he brings it with him. Okay.
It's the only way you notice who I am, because otherwise most people don't. They just see a guy walking around in a suit and don't realize it's me. So,
well,
that's awesome. Oh my gosh.
There we go.
Mine's upstairs.
Yeah.
One of the if I can have a go back real
go
quick.
For
one
it.
of the things that this year, especially this year, Star Citizen has been fun when we're playing it with other people.
Mm-hmm.
When I do tend to solo play quite a bit, especially if I'm doing any mining, any dogfighting, I like to kind of do it solo. But because there are certain things we can do with orgs and stuff, and even if it's 4 or 5 people, and it's a freaking blast. But getting everybody together and timing and give everybody in the same place and stuff, that's why we try to organize that on the streams. That's been the most fun I've had this year, and mostly we're just making up stuff to do. We did a race, a mule race, which, if you know how slow the mule is, it was. And our guys in the org were like, that was the funnest thing, because they were racing around in Daymar around a canyon, and it was a blast. And we had a great time shooting it and filming it. We did figure eights around the New Babbage garage and in PTVs, and that kind of content that you just kind of come up with on the fly has been the best time. Which then puts me into the segue of we need more stuff to do. I love it that the tech is advancing and these systems are getting nailed down, but there's still just not enough to do right now, and maybe Pyro will change that. I'm hoping so. So I mean that's always been the thing with Star Citizen in the past couple years is you do everything there is to do, and then you're tired of doing box delivery missions because they're the same thing every time. So you want to get this new fresh content, and you got to play with your friends, and that's what makes it a blast right now. So
Yeah, I think though that another reason why we're not going out and doing the box missions and doing all of the running freight and everything, because we're told the next patch it's going to be another reset, and
another wipe.
yeah, why go off and do all that work and do that? Yeah, with our Sunday org, yeah, we go off and we do mining and stuff like that, but nobody's really into the money all that much. We're into the fun that we have. In fact, Fist is going to be putting a death counter on our stream to count how many times I die each stream, because I'm good at that. Yes, but yeah, I mean, we on our Sunday stream, it's supposed to be a mining stream. We do things like we go steal the Big Benny's machines from the station, and we go try and put them places. We put one in the river. That was kind of fun. We even got it upright. It was upside down, but it was upright inside the river. So, but we do have some pretty fun shenanigans.
You make a good point with the wipe. What is the point of getting rep and making money if it's going to get wiped, right?
Yeah. I think that has definitely poured the fire on the water, the flames of desire for playing Star Citizen. More than once, I've heard people say, "I'll come back in 3.18," and other people say, "I'll come back in 4.0." I'm just, I'm done for now, and I get why. Like, 3.18 is not setting up to be a fun patch. It's being set up to be an absolute dumpster fire. It's going to be a tire fire in terms of playability, a necessary tire fire, but still a tire fire. So it'll be interesting to see how people kind of pull out into in the new year. Because I think if they manage to get a 3.19 out the door, I anticipate it being more of a stabilization patch, trying to get everything stabilized and get ready to go. Yeah. And then if it does well, then it should get more people to come back and play, I think. But important to see that. Yeah. I think that's our discussion for now. Thank you all for watching. We'll be coming back with question and answer sessions. I'm trying to make these discussion sessions shorter because people always have questions, and we get into the juicy topics like the level up systems and the details that people have questions about are usually fairly controversial. So those discussions go a little bit longer. These ones are nice, kind of just little intro bits. And it also allows me to stop and then use the restroom and grab something to eat and drink between these hour-long sessions. So thank you for watching. Make sure you're checking out Soul Citizens and Griffin Gaming RPG. Make sure you're checking out fistandjawa.org for Fist and Jawa's content. Fisting, which does not involve fisting or Jawas. So,
well, the Jawas maybe.
Involves Jawa, but being Sparky.
Right. Sparky's actually his first name. He does it backwards.
This is backwards. His last name's Jawa.
Yeah.
So
No, Jawa is our tribe name. Yes.
Yes. So Sparky Jawa.
Now Jawa Sparky. Tribe name first.
Thank you all for joining us. Make sure that if you're still watching this, we have raised a total of $1,801. I do want to thank Chevy Jocelyn and Fist and Jawa for donating some money for this section. We're trying to get to $2,000. We've already beat our first goal of 1,000, so we're moving on up. So help us out if you want to. In the links below, if you're watching this after the fact, if you're watching this on Twitch and YouTube, !charity, we'll give you that link. And even if we're done with the 24-hour stream, we still have the chance for you to pick out your own. There's still a chance for you to donate money to help out kids. So. Yeah, we'll be moving on to the question and answer session next. And like I always say, hope to see you someday in the black. Later, y'all.